This is directly out of the report from the DAV. And they pointed out how they're not identifying the different needs for women, and with a focus on the 80% solution for men. So again, I think just the more we educate ourselves and the more we not only identify the issue but have a solution for it, will be beneficial for the VA and the community to establish or increase the services that they have for us. And it talks about the MST is obviously one of the problems, and the solutions are going to require a radical change in the culture of the armed forces. And it's also going to require a change in the veteran community too. Next slide, please. And the report states that the number of assaults or unwanted sexual contacts are increasing. And they say that it's because people are feeling more comfortable, or that they might get a result from their chain of command, or that it's becoming more, I can't say acceptable, but it's more of a discussion, and it's more okay to report if you have any of these situations. And the last line is that they said that they're asking for assistance by making formal reports now. Next slide. Oh, here we go. This is where they talk about the increase because of the growing confidence among service members. And the actual reporting increased about 5% in the last 6 years or so. And how it says the DoD indicated it will try to confirm this impression using the 2014 Workplace Gender Relations Survey of Active Duty, and this report's going to be out in April of 15. So that's just something that we'll keep in mind, and when it comes out, I'm happy to find it and then send it out. Next slide, please. This is another avenue for support. I particularly like the Equal Rights Advocate. This article, which is linked on the bottom, the full one, actually happened here in California in the collaborative up in the Santa Clarita office. The whole article talks about what bills are in place and how they're going and what they can do to change the culture and the services provided for MST survivors. The next slide. And if you didn't know or you weren't aware, because this is all new to me, this civilian world again, so I'm always interested to find where I can find the information on this. This is the one of the bills that the article talks about, and I just gave what it looks like actually on the webpage, and then the link is at the top. It's going to be, there's two of them. There's this 1864, and it talks about how the IG in the Department of Defense investigates allegations in regard to rape, sexual assault, or other forms of sexual misconduct. And the next slide. This is actually the second bill. This is the beginning part of it. The next slide talks about actually what the bill has to say. We can go to the next slide whenever you're ready. There we go. This talks about how the DoD is supposed to oversee the entire process. And the link to that is there again on the bottom. And it amends the National Defense Authorization Act required for the National Guard in each state. That's on the bottom. So whenever you're ready for the next slide. And then we have, of course, the California Women's Toolkit, which is a wealth of knowledge. And the new one is coming out in November, and I'm so excited. And the next slide. This report is actually done by the American Legion. It talks about women veterans healthcare, and what it does, there's not one study that's done in California, but it actually goes to different states and it reports best practices and in a variety of subjects. But it's great to see what other VAs are doing and what's really working. So that's just part of the education piece for ourselves, and the link is on the bottom there. Next slide. And this is also another one that's through the AmericanProgress.org. It's another 40 pages document about how the system isn't working and what needs to happen to make it better for the survivors, and increasing the accountability for the perpetrators and military leadership. And the link again is there. Next slide. And this is the report from SWAN, another great resource. This one's more specific to the VA and getting benefits. And it also includes, as always, the federal legislation to improve compensation for victims of MST. Next slide. And then because we love the status of the report on status of women and girls in California, this is how you link to their report for us. And then it specifically talks about women veterans in there as well. Next slide. And this is, I always feel like we need to connect with the VA because they are supposed to be the provider for us. And this is a program that they offer. If you haven't heard of it, it's Make the Connection. It's actually a program online. And you can, it's where service members in a variety of different topics share their story. So if you don't want to leave home, but you want to know what else is going on there, this is a great website. And this also had a specific section about MST, and then what the VA actually has to offer. It has the free and confidential treatment for mental and physical health related to MST. And then it says you can receive MST-related care even if you're not eligible for other VA services. I didn't realize that when I got out, but and I would guess that other people don't know it as well. And to receive the services, you do not need a VA service-connected disability rating, and you don't need to have a reported incident when it happened or other documentation when it occurs. So if you have MST, you can actually get services connected to that through the VA. Next slide. This is kind of the continuation of the same. It gives the links to where you can find out about more, do actual assessments, and then I like the part where it has the VA Medical Center locator. It's often hard to find a local VA, so there's where you can find that. Then it's also where you can find the vet centers. Vet centers are really up and coming in the VA system. They're smaller. They're located in the community. They offer a variety of services, especially mental health services for post 9/11 veterans and their families, and especially for MST. So if you don't know where your local vet center is, I suggest you find it and check them out. Next slide. And this is just, the library has a bunch of resources, so I wanted to point that out. They have several of these short subjects papers, and this one in particular is on the MST, based on the California Women's Survey. Next slide. And now what can we do? I firmly believe we need to educate ourselves, which is what I've been doing since I've been out, just to find the resources. And then to share with other veterans, and then connect with the community to find reliable resources. So I'm always out, I'm always asking questions, I'm always trying to find people and organizations that are willing to help. And then we need to share these resources within our helping community, and then connect the MST survivors with these resources. Staying current on our legislation and vote if necessary. I think also with every veteran, those that are in more need than others, we just need to be patient and listen. And I always tell everyone that I meet, don't take no for an answer. So if you go somewhere for services and you're not getting the answer that you want, ask them, if anybody else provides that services, or just keep asking, because there has to be a solution out there for us. And next slide. These are just a couple of the community partners that I know of. And I also wanted to add, if anybody's interested in or knows of a very successful and helpful community partner, if you wanted to put it into the chat or email Lindsay, I'm happy to compile a list and then send it back out too, because it's like finding a gold mine in the community. So when you're out there and you find something that works, again, you're educating and then you're sharing with the community. We're going to go through just a couple of these, and I just wanted to point out on the bottom, there's a Healing Quest TV. There's a link to a YouTube. It's about a 10-minute feature that talks about MST and being successful in overcoming it. And I don't have anything of this, the last resource, but it has, when you log on there, it gives you all the rape or domestic violence resources by county. So if you didn't know that it's there as well. And the link will be on the very last. Next page, or next slide, please. And if you don't know about the YWCA, this is what their services are. And I've noticed here locally in Los Angeles that they're totally embracing women veterans and providing a wealth of resources for us. They're giving us an ability to connect with each other through events. They're working towards opening avenues to connect us with employment, and as part of their overall mission anyways, is they do outreach for women that have experienced sexual assault and or domestic violence. So they're really becoming a leading force here in Los Angeles. Next slide. If you haven't heard of Peace Over Violence, I just heard about it when I got out of the service a couple years ago. They're really active, and they do a lot with connecting with individuals that are survivors of sexual or domestic violence, with legal options and or mental health or counseling services. And they're very active in the communities. Next slide. And this I just discovered today, the DoD self-help line. It actually has a tab for transitioning service members. You just click through a little question answer, and it gets you to the right person. So this is just another 24/7 safe helpline that's out there for us. Next slide. And then the Palo Alto VA offers the Women's Trauma Recovery Program. If I'll let you read that, the 60-day residential program, coping skills, and you get to practice these skills with as you're going through the program and out in the community with the other residents. And then the link is there too. Next slide. And then this is just the resources from the presentation. And that is all I have. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions, suggestions, resources, please let us know.
Okay, folks, so thank you very much, Christine. She provided incredible information in terms of resources that, we've not even found as of yet, so I'm really happy that we can share those. The next part of the presentation is what I'm going to cover briefly regarding our work around the sexual assaults initiative that we adopted last year. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about it, and then talk about what our goals with this initiative are and what legislation has been introduced over the last year, partly as a result of our efforts, but really because of the results of a much larger group of individuals. And then at the very end, about 10:55, we will open this up for questions. So right now, your phones are still muted. So if you have something that needs to be addressed or you want to ask right away, you can put it in our chat window. Otherwise, we will open up the phone line for questions afterwards. So, regarding the initiative, so last year, it was about June 2013, my division and my analysts and I decided to undertake an initiative regarding how we could address sexual assault prevention. So we're focusing on prevention of sexual assault in the military, as well as survivor care. So when people return to California that have experienced assault and rape in the military, that they have some resources to go to, and that we can help build up those resources in the state and make sure that people's needs were being addressed appropriately. So the first goal was really to work on prevention of sexual assault in the military. Well, that's a huge undertaking. We are a state agency, so we have no control over what the federal government, what the Department of Defense or U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs does in order to enact policies about victim care, survivor care, and about prevention of sexual assault. So the best thing we can do is help to raise awareness about this issue in our communities. And then we can also continue to advocate for policy change and for the cultural change that needs to happen in the military in order to stop the crime of sexual assault. So around raising awareness, last July we partnered with some fantastic folks out of the Alameda area to put on an event for sexual assault awareness raising. So this included Charlotte Bear, Mary Ellen Salzano, Kate Weber, Carol Ann Wonderland, and several of us created presentations, had some local and state leaders attend as well. And we talked a little bit about the current issue of sexual assault in the military, particularly in light about some of the reports that had just come out from Department of Defense. And so we have since then not put on another community event, but we're still looking for partners that would like to put on community events to raise awareness about assault in the military. So if anybody on the call is looking to do that, then we're happy to work with you. What we have really focused on is educating state legislators, educating the public and local and state leaders about the issue of sexual assault in the military. And part of that was the hearing testimony that we provided at a hearing last year on October 28th about sexual assault in the military. And this was a hearing that was put on by the Assembly Veterans Affairs Committee and the Legislative Women's Caucus. And Assemblywoman Bonnie Lowenthal and Assemblymember Al Merit-Succi led the hearing, and they heard from our department, they heard from the California Military Department, which is the California Army and Air National Guards. They heard from the CalCASA, California Coalition Against Sexual Assault, and several survivors themselves. And we all discussed about what we were doing currently, what the statistics and the picture of sexual assault in the military was looking like, and what needed to be done. And so out of that hearing came a few opportunities for legislation to be passed in California, which I'm going to discuss in a minute. Our second goal with the MST initiative is kind of our primary focus, because this is where we can really make a difference here in California for our veterans, particularly our women veterans. And what we're doing is starting with providing cultural competency training and MST PTSD claims training for our county veteran service officers. So there is a service officer in each county, and actually we have one on the call today, Hannah Williamson. These folks are responsible for supporting the community and veterans in filing claims for disability and compensation, filing claims for dependents indemnity compensation, a myriad number of other claims, as well as providing resources to the veterans that come in to their doors. And so what we're doing is working with the CVSOs with the goal of increasing the number of women that come to CVSOs to file claims, as well as ensuring that the claims that are being filed for women and men, if they're related to PTSD, MST, that those CVSOs have the proper training and feel comfortable with how to file those claims, and that they have resources to give those individuals if they need mental health counseling or further resources, that they'll be able to do that. So we've undertaken one training for the CVSOs regarding this. We're going to plan to do more in the coming year, as well as providing some solid resources to things like rape crisis centers in the counties, and to providing different materials and forms that the CVSOs can use to make sure that they're able to support their clients as best as possible. Likewise, we're also partnering with the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault to provide military cultural competency training to rape crisis centers. So rape crisis centers are a fantastic resource for individuals to seek out as well. There is a rape crisis center in every county, and that can all be found at CalCASA, so calcasa.org, calcasa.org. They support the rape crisis centers across the counties, and so we're working with them to ensure that individuals and counselors that work there have some understanding and cultural competency around those of us that have served in the military, and then we're working to ensure that they also have the ability to support us. So that's another area where we're partnering right now. And then what we're also going to do is map out the process by which someone can seek restitution dollars for from the Victims' Compensation Board if they have been assaulted while serving in the military by another service member. Based on legislation passed this year, they should have access to victims' compensation funds, and those funds can be used to support further mental health treatments that they may need. And so we may add a few things to these goals depending on what comes up and where the needs are, but primarily our focus is going to be acting as a primary resource for individuals who are looking for information around this, as well as educating the community so that service providers really have cultural competency to work with veterans that are suffering from the effects of sexual assault in the military. So two pieces of legislation that I wanted to talk about briefly that were passed this last year. The first was Senate Bill 1422. This was Senator Padilla. This was a coalition of individuals, the Democratic Veterans Caucus and the California Military Department worked. We provided some technical support on this bill as well, but this was the bill that really codifies the process by which an individual will be prosecuted and a case will be handled within the California Air National Guard and Army National Guard. So going forward, if a service member experiences assault at the hands of another service member and they are in the California Air or Army National Guard, the process of prosecution and looking at the actual case will be taken up by civilian jurisdiction. This was something that was pretty much happening informally already within the Guard because they don't have the statutory authority or the resources to make sure that that they can prosecute properly a case of sexual assault. What's great about this bill is that it actually makes this a formalized statement and process, and it includes many other small tidbits in here, including that the military department cannot overturn a sentence of sexual assault. They can't overturn a court-martial. If someone has been court-martialed, they don't have the ability to overturn it, which is something that we've seen happen nationwide in our military. If a court-martial was decided, then there's been one or two instances of a higher flag officer or a higher general officer being able to overturn that. So that's prohibited now, which is good. Additionally, this bill also extends the prosecution or the period. So the minimum sentencing requirements have changed a little bit. Someone would have to be dishonorably discharged from the military according to the general sentencing of the court-martial. It also extends the period by which someone would serve jail time for an assault if they were convicted. So I think it extends it beyond a year because that was all that was allowed in the Military and Veterans Code at the time. So at the bottom I've provided some text or the link to the actual text of the bill. This is a good resource because you can see all of the bullets and what additional details are included in the bill, because there are several more details in there about how this should be handled in the future. So that's good news. And then the second piece of legislation, this was AB 2545, introduced and passed, and this was Assemblywoman Lowenthal that passed this. This was also supported and sponsored by, and then we also worked to provide a little bit of technical support on this one too. And this bill prohibits the denial of the victim compensation program in California to anyone that's claiming sexual assault that served in the military, that was assaulted by another military person or another person in the military, just because they don't have the incident documented or reported to law enforcement. So basically, someone can access the victim's compensation funds in order to seek mental health treatment now, or physical health treatment, and they're not going to be prohibited from doing so because of a lack of paperwork to support their claim. There will be some paperwork required, and I think right now the Victims Compensation Board is kind of working out what that's going to look like, but it's going to be things like documentation from VA potentially that can be utilized to support the claim of post-traumatic stress for MST. It can be military paperwork like a DD-214 record of service, things like that that can kind of establish a person's military service, and then perhaps the need to establish the treatment that they need to seek, but it will not require the report from the superior officer. It will not require a law enforcement report or anything like that. And what's interesting about this is that this kind of is really establishing a process and the approval that this can actually happen, that people can seek this compensation in addition to what they may be using by VA or private insurance and medical care. And so, again, I've included the link here for this bill, and the full text of the bill can be read, and so that you can see exactly what it includes. But what we'll be doing in the next, hopefully 6 months or so, since this is effective January 1, I'd like to get something as close to January as possible produced so that people can see the process that they need to go through with the Victims Compensation Board. And then I've also included that as a resource in later slides so that you can go to the Victims Compensation Board website and see a little bit about the bill there as well. So a couple of resources that you can utilize: CalCASA, which is calcasa.org. That's where you can see all of the rape crisis centers throughout the state of California and each county. And then the Victims Compensation Board also provides information about AB 2545. We're getting some questions on our chat window. It looks like people are looking for hard copies of the presentation, so we can provide that, and we will. So at this point, I think I had, just my contact information. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions by unmuting everyone's phone. So hold on one second and let me do that for you. Okay, can you all hear me, folks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yes, but
Okay.
it's a loud whining noise. Okay.
Yeah, there's whining.
All right. Okay, thanks for, sorry about the delay. The phone call was cut off briefly. So if you all can remember to mute your phones, please, since it is a question and answer. What I'm going to do is if you have questions at this time, then please ask, and then we can just take a few minutes to cover any more details that people may want from myself or from Christine.
How do we mute our phones?
So you can mute your phone by pressing *6 on your line. Thank you. Great. So does anybody have any questions for us at this time?
Yes, I have a question. It's about PTSD or MST. Is that another claim? I have a PTSD disability. Do I need to have a MST, another disability? What is that? MST.
Okay. So typically, I think Hannah, are you on?
Yep, I'm on.
Can you explain the co-occurring disorders for a claim related to MST, PTSD?
So the different disabilities?
Yeah, I have a rating for disability for PTSD. What about MST? Do I need to claim for that or what?
Yes, we always include any condition that the doctor has diagnosed, and if the veteran is suffering conditions related, then we suggest they go to their doctor and tell them about them and have them officially diagnosed. Coexisting conditions with PTSD and MST, of course, are insomnia, nightmares, night terrors, or even chronic fatigue. Sleeping over. There's substance abuse conditions that are also considered secondary to PTSD, MST. There are, now I'm on the spot. I can't think of them all.
Excuse me. My issues about the claim, for disability. I'm rating PTSD for my disability. Do I need to have another claim for MST? What is that?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, because people are mentioning PTSD and MST. I just don't understand.
Okay. So
The diagnosis is PTSD, but according to the VA, PTSD could come from a traumatic, stressful event, and it's most commonly combat related or combat training related, or MST. But if you're already diagnosed and being compensated for PTSD, and they knew it stemmed from personal assault or military sexual trauma harassment, then you're fine. No, you wouldn't need to file another claim.
Yeah, because it's not only harassment. I have a trauma with this because it's not only harassment. It's really, totally, horrified, been raped,
Okay.
So when I refer to MST PTSD claims, that's actually more like the type of claim that that's identified by VA, and so really what that does is if the PTSD experienced or any of the other co-occurring disorders experienced are a result of military sexual assaults or harassment resulting in trauma, as Hannah's indicating, it's routed differently within the VA system. So that's what I'm talking about when I say PTSD MST claims. And that's because you're right, you can't file for military sexual trauma. Instead, you're experiencing post-traumatic stress or co-occurring disorders as a result thereof. But that's just referring to the type of claim, really. So a couple other things. And I'm getting some feedback from folks.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. This PTSD is another claim, and MST, is that another claim, or they are the same?
No. So, but if you have not identified the assault that you experienced with your VA healthcare provider, or you did not receive any, or you didn't file a claim for that, but say filed a claim for something else, maybe related to combat PTSD or related to like a physical injury, then you may want to contact your county veteran service officer as soon as possible to find out about any other thing you were going to look at for that claim. Is that accurate, Hannah?
Do I need to file another for MST because this is just come out MST because what I know before was only PTSD, for sexual trauma, rape.
Since you've already brought up the topic, if you don't mind me just asking, when you filed the claim for PTSD, when you originally filed that claim,
Yeah.
did you explain that it was PTSD from a sexual assault?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a depression.
Then you're great. Then you're good.
Stress.
You're good.
You don't need to do anything more then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But ma'am,
Okay,
you're
that's
welcome
good.
to contact us if you have any other resources that you need or any other needs, then please get a hold of us.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, this is Lindsay.
Hi, my name is Charmaine. I have a question. I'm looking for a women's advocacy group in the Rancho Cucamonga area. I filed for PTSD/MST with the Los Angeles Wilshire Division, and I filed back in January. And I haven't heard anything or if it was still being developed as a fully developed claim or anything like that. So I was wondering if I could contact a women's advocacy group in the Rancho Cucamonga area.
Yeah, so Charmaine, what you can do is if you can contact my office, if we can have a phone call and I can get your information, like your social, then we can get our district office to look at that. So
could you give me your number?
More information about your claim. Yeah, call me at area code 916-653-2551.
916-653-2551, and that's Lindsay Sin, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions at this time from folks?
Hi, Lindsay.
Yes?
This is Rebecca from Women Health at NAVA.
Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah, I just thank you for giving those valuable information, and also I want to share with with other veteran or any service provider. We Women Health is conducting research in the coming months until the next fiscal years. We're going to do research on the need of rural women veterans with military sexual trauma. To contact the rural women veteran to find out what they need, so we can develop some service at the Women Health Program to support rural women veterans. Because usually, most of the time, I guessing is those women veterans, they may have military sexual trauma. They live in the rural area for safe. So that will be taking place. So we hope that if we get some help from service provider or rural women veteran, they want to contact us, so we can outreach and get information from the veteran to hopefully provide better services.
Hey, Rebecca, can you share your contact information or Mather VA's contact information for folks?
Yes, I want to add one more thing. Actually, what we're doing at Mather right now, we already have a female veteran service officer. We'll meet with the veteran one-on-one at Mather VA Women Health Clinic to file for claim related to MST. We did a lot in the past year. So we have that for women veterans. So just want to, if any woman veteran need help in the Sacramento area. My contact number will be 916-366-5453. So feel free, in any woman veteran in rural area, they would like to contact me. So we have a couple of questions to ask for what they think we need to do better for the stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Rebecca Stallworth, the Women Veterans Outreach Coordinator, OEF Coordinator at VA Mather. So if anybody has questions, please contact her directly about their Rural Health Outreach Program that they're currently undertaking. Okay. I will put Rebecca's information online as well.
Thank you. If nobody will ask question, there's another one for me. I'm
Okay.
just, I'm just being considerate.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. It has mentioned here on the board about YWCA.
Mhm.
What is that? Is that what's that? Is that monthly that we have to go there or what?
So the YWCA is an organization. There are several chapters across the nation and in different communities in California. Typically, their mission is to serve women and their families, or women and children, usually around ending domestic violence, including treatments for sexual assault and harassment. Sometimes they're community centers and provide child care or job skills training. Sometimes they can provide referrals, resources to mental health outreach, etc. So if you're interested in visiting a YWCA, then you'd want to search YWCA in your specific county or community, in your city, or usually.
Okay. Okay. Is this affiliated with the VA?
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's a private
okay.
organization.
So we have to pay them, right? To be connected with them, right?
No, I'm not aware of any fee for service. But what you'd have to do is look up YWCA in your specific city, and that should bring up a website and more information about what they're doing.
Is there any charges if we contact them, to get service from them?
I don't know. I don't think
Oh,
so.
okay.
You'd have to find out from your specific YWCA. They're all
Okay.
run.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're getting a few questions on the chat window. Are there any, so one person's asking, are there any resources specific to the geriatric population? Christine, are you still on the call with us?
I am.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I'll have to do some research for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it depends on what resources you're looking for specifically to address that viewer's question. But we can try and provide some more information. We do have state veterans homes here in the state of California for long-term care options. And then there is a lot of the VA medical programs focus on women's health, do cover services related to our elderly women veteran population as well. Okay, so in respect of everybody's time, we are about 2 minutes away from from ending the call. Are there any final questions anyone has? Anything anybody wants to clarify or ask at this time? Okay. So we do put these calls and the recordings up on our website so that the voice information is recorded. If somebody would like the presentations emailed to them, we're happy to do that. I've already gotten a few requests via our chat window. So what we'll also do is provide my email address. You can email me at Lindsay, that's LINDSEY .sin, SIN, at calvet.ca.gov. You can also email us at womenveterans@calvet.ca.gov, and then we'll be happy to provide the presentations to you. There were some great resources shared in here, a lot of research that Christine did, so we'll be very happy to help you out with that. And hopefully you can find some value in these resources that were provided today. Otherwise, we will be updating our website to include our initiatives, including the sexual assault and survivor care initiative, so you'll see some more information about that on our website soon. And our outreach toolkit will be available in PDF by November 11th, and then we will also have paper copies. If organizations are wanting it, then we'll be happy to mail them out to you. Otherwise, you can download a paper copy from our website, or a PDF from our website, and our website is calvet.ca.gov. So thank you all very much. Thanks to Christine for providing the presentation, and thank you all for joining us. And we will see you next month, December, on the first Monday of December. And you'll see more information out from us as well. So thank you again very much, and have a good day.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.